Bore da, and welcome to the village of Llanberis in North Wales, where today we're at the foot of the magnificent Wyddfa, or Mount Snowdon. Yes, it's that big one over there. And soon 8 artists will be preparing to scale the dizzy heights of artistic excellence. It's a brand new episode of Landscape Artist of the Year.
It's Heat 2, and we've presented 8 more artists with an incredible but challenging view.
This is possibly one of the most daunting landscapes in Britain.
The view is breathtaking. It's the perfect subject.
And as always, our artists will be working under the expert eyes of our 3 distinguished judges.
I wonder how long it takes to notice that I've just gone off into my own little art-making land.
Alongside a team of 50 landscape artist wildcards.
You're in a cult?
Well, you could say that, no.
You're having some sort of breakdown?
At stake is a £10,000 prize commission to paint a landscape of the south of France, a region which has inspired some of the world's greatest artists. Our winner will follow in the footsteps of Van Gogh, Monet and Cézanne to create an artwork for London's prestigious Courtauld Gallery. But first, they just need to get through today.
If it goes wrong, then I might have to scrape it off and do it again.
I'm feeling a bit panicked just because there's a lot to resolve in a very short space of time.
So settle in and join us as we search for the next Landscape Artist of the Year.
So, mountains, lake, Bob's your uncle.
The best painting ever, yeah.
Today's 8 artists have made the journey from all corners of the United Kingdom. Professional painters Mark Harrison from Brighton and Claire Rose from Pembrokeshire. Urban designer Mike Biddulph from Cardiff, and recent art school graduate Kayla Spence from the Scottish Highlands.
I'm a little bit anxious for how tiring it might be, but I'm really excited.
Also joining us are business developer Anna Rowe Tyson from Hampshire, London-based artists Charlotte May, Indian-born Marcio Fernandez, and Simon Gazzard, an art teacher also from London.
I'm feeling great, really nervous, but excited, and it's really beautiful here, and I'm looking forward to getting going, yeah.
All artists were chosen on the strength of a submitted landscape, which they've brought with them today. And as they take in their surroundings and prepare their kit, they're contemplating the epic task ahead.
There could be nothing better than this today. There's a huge piece of nature in front of me, and I'm ready to start the challenge, yeah.
When I got here, the lighting was how it was, the early morning, sunlight coming through the valley. That's gone. I'll keep changing my mind about what I'm going to do, but I've decided now. Yeah, I'm going.
Artists, it's time to get those crampons on because your challenge is about to begin. You have 4 hours to complete your artworks, and your time starts now. Good luck.
As dramatic cloud rolls in over the Snowdonia mountain range, today our artist's view is out over Llyn Padarn, Llanberis' lake. Glimpses of the ruined 13th century Dolbadarn castle and the rooftop of the National Slate Museum provide breaks in the lush green, with Mount Snowdon peeking through the clouds high above.
I'm sort of wondering whether I'm going to go for that, with that building right at the bottom. I'm not going to do that.
It's so, so beautiful. I couldn't believe how lucky I was. Oh my God, shut up.
I didn't bring much with me today. I bought a few pens and maybe about 20 coloured pencils. I often draw urban environments, so I'm actually interested in the buildings, and I love rendering trees.
Mike Biddulph used his degree in urban design from Oxford Brookes University to mark out a career in town planning, where he learnt how to free sketch in ink whilst working with architects. Mike's submission, which took 20 hours, depicts overlapping tree roots at Avebury Ring in Wiltshire and was drawn with fine liner pens on cartridge paper.
So, Mike, in your submission, we loved it because of the density and the richness of it all. I love the way in which it sort of filled the entire sheet of paper. And, you know, there's a lot of information here too, so does it sort of speak to you?
Yes, it does. I, of course, am drawn towards things that are rendered well with a pen. So, so I've drawn the castle and the museum first. The castle slightly off-centre, so I might have made a mistake.
If you know what you can give us in 4 hours,
yes,
you either
exactly.
sort of reduce the size or you reduce the density of the ink.
That's right. So I'm going to use crayon to fill in certain areas. I might have taken on too much. We'll find out.
My style is quite loose. I can embellish on what I see if it ramps up the drama. I'm just trying to catch the feeling of a place, really. I just want to get the sense of scale.
Claire Rose studied fine art at Aberystwyth University and has been a professional artist ever since. Her submission is a snowy, sunlit street in her hometown, St Dogmiles, as a storm brews above.
Hello, Claire.
Hi.
It's a very good-looking start. You've gone big.
Yeah, it's a big painting, but I use big brushes.
I'm thinking about your submission, of course. This is a very dramatic scene.
Yes.
Something's going to happen.
Yes.
It's kind of portentous.
I was interested in that suggestion of the sun is shining, but there's trouble ahead.
There's trouble ahead. OK. And so you're going to try and imbue this picture with that same
I think
kind of
so.
loaded narrative.
The way the clouds are coming through.
Yeah. Can you set it to be sunny? It's always my preference.
OK, I will.
Nice view, isn't it?
I mean, it's just got everything you want. We've got a bit of water, we've got a mountain, we've got a steam train every now and again, we've got a village, a church, woods, fields, sheep.
Castle.
Slate mine. What more do you want? Easy to paint?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a bit of greens,
yeah.
bish, bosh, bash.
This kind of landscape has what the romantics called the sublime. Sublime is so beautiful, it's almost scary.
Right.
It's almost godly in its magnificence. So I expect the best paintings ever.
Really?
Yeah, easy peasy. You know, we're sitting in front of elemental stuff here. Water, ridges, weather.
The majesty of nature.
I don't think you can go wrong. I'm sorry. I mean, you'd have to be...
You'd have to be me.
to get it wrong.
To muck this up.
Yeah.
This setting is really different from the London landscapes I usually paint. I like to have people in my pictures generally, and I try and sort of capture energy and movement in my paintings.
Born and bred Londoner Simon Gazzard worked as an architect for 20 years before retraining as an art teacher. His submission in oils with trademark figures was painted quickly with fresh, bright colours to capture the atmosphere of Hampstead Heath on a summer's day.
Simon, it seems to me you started quite quickly. Looking at your submission, you're describing the relationship between person and nature.
Yeah.
It looks like you've introduced a person.
Yeah. So usually I like some sort of figure in a painting just to introduce you to the scene.
Okay.
So I've tried to kind of go with a nice sky, mountains, a few bits of detail, and then a kind of little story.
Well, it's looking gorgeous.
Thank you.
I think about things in terms of shapes on the page. Then I like to play with blocks of colour. I paint the world as I see it. It's quite a spontaneous process.
With a degree in illustration from Camberwell College of Arts, Chesterfield-born Charlotte May works as a professional artist. Her submission in oils and acrylics is a semi-imagined landscape inspired by her childhood home in the Peak District.
Hi, Charlotte. I love the way you've started it. You've got this animated green vegetation, then now you're cutting in with detail. Is this how you always work?
So I identify the parts of the composition that are popping out at me. So I'm seeing like triangular shapes.
Okay. Let's talk about your submission. It's about depth and it's about landscape. I get the feeling that there's a strong sense of pattern in the way you create depths and shapes. So will you be finding the same thing with this landscape?
I suppose it's something that my mind automatically goes to, is picking out patterns. They become sort of blocks of colour and they layer up and intersect with each other.
I think we've given you the perfect landscape to work with.
You have. It's gorgeous.
Our 8 artists aren't the only ones painting today. Marching up the trail alongside the pods, it's our 50 landscape artist wildcards. And some of them have travelled hundreds of miles to be here.
So I'm from Ireland, I live in Dublin, and I came over on the ferry yesterday. Every direction that you look here, there's something to paint.
I'm from Portsmouth, and we had quite a journey, actually. We missed quite a few of the roads that we were supposed to turn down to get actually here in this wonderful place.
I'm from Kansas City, so smack dab in the middle of the States. But currently, we live just outside of Newmarket, so in Suffolk, England. We like the mountains, so this was a great spot.
Only one of these wildcards will have the chance to go forward for a coveted place in this year's semi-final.
What are you painting with?
I'm painting with oils.
Yeah.
But I've also got some soil here.
You've got just some soil from around here?
Soil from around here, yeah, with some linseed oil in it.
And how does it behave itself when you mix it?
I don't know. I've never done it before.
You've never done it before?
Never done it before.
You like to live by the seat of your pants.
Absolutely.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I've managed to fill the page, so I've got to now build the image out and make it look more convincing. But I think that I've got a long way to go.
Starting on details probably a bit too soon. I'm not quite happy yet. It's all two similar tones.
I've gone for a really ambitious composition, so everything could go wrong at this stage, everything.
As silvery light breaks over Llanberis in North Wales, 8 artists are busy capturing this romantic view of Mount Snowdon. Our next artist has gone for a suitably dramatic approach.
I couldn't even start a painting without having black color on my palette. I need a black on my palette or else I'm not painting at all.
With a degree in fine art from Goa College of Art in India under his belt, Marcio Fernandez is about to start a master's in painting at City and Guilds of London Art School. His submission in acrylics uses strong black lines painted in rapid brushstrokes to create an abstract, imaginary scene.
Hi, Marcio. It's a great beginning. I love the way that you've given us this kind of vignette.
Yeah.
I think what we love so much about your submission was this kind of density. Obviously, all the black lines that you've put in work against quite a dark contrast. Why is that?
I like black a lot because it puts you into a depth.
I think it suits the scene we're looking at today, which does have these quite extraordinary contrasts.
The distinctive elements, you know, like...
Yeah. And without all of that black, you're just going to have lots and lots of green. And how long did this one take?
It took me around, like, 3 hours.
Oh, so you've got time to make this and then go for a kayak. As beautiful as the mountains are, in order to get their majesty, I'd have to work bigger than I'm working. I've decided to paint this section because it just seemed like quite a nice, interesting view to take a slice of.
Anna Rowe Tyson studied illustration at the University of Westminster and works part-time for a luxury furniture company. Her landscapes zoom in on the details of a scene, focusing on colours and shapes, as in her submission of chairs outside a cafe in Belgium.
Hello, Anna. I'm just thinking of your submission. You are very strange in your choices, in a good way. We've given you this vista, you know, Snowdon lurking in the clouds, and you've gone for some trees and some lakes. Funny enough, it looks like a Chinese landscape, and that it's very vertical. You've got no sense of where you are in it.
I just like the little bits of the lake sort of glimpsing through the trees.
Talking about this painting and then talking about your submission, it all makes sense. You're zoning in again, you're just saying.
I am zoning in, but I guess it's not a traditional landscape,
No.
maybe. I just like the way the colours all work together nicely. I was
Of course,
worried it
arguing that a bunch of orange chairs on a patio is a landscape, it's difficult. But I love your approach to it.
Thank you.
All my paintings are about atmosphere and mood, through colour, through perspective, but I like to invent a lot of things as well. I'm an imaginative realist.
Mark Harrison has a postgraduate degree in illustration from Wimbledon School of Art, and after 30 years illustrating book covers, he now concentrates on his own work. Mark's submission, which took 10 days, depicts a semi-imagined empty street in the US state of Texas.
You like drama, don't you?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
mood.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can
Oh,
tell from
yeah,
your
I-
submission, Mark. What we really liked was the way in which you used that sort of rusty orange to highlight and pick up across the painting. I mean, in a way, if we had a beautiful blue sky day, you'd
Oh,
be
it'd be hopeless.
complaining.
I'll just give up on that and just make it a nighttime scene anyway.
Why have you got to make it a nighttime scene? Have we not given you enough?
I will often take a daylight scene and just make it into night, you know. I thought, well, actually, no, it's getting very moody now, you know, all these clouds hugging the tops of the mountains. So I thought, well, let's go for a night scene.
OK.
When I approach painting landscapes, it's all about like taking everything in at once. So I think I'm going to tackle the biggest peak there. I like capturing the things that you're probably going to remember the most.
Originally from Moray in the northeast of Scotland, Kayla Spence studied painting at Gray's School of Art in Aberdeen. Their submission is of Rogie Falls outside Inverness, painted with quick, intuitive, dark marks, with added motifs representing the relationship between memory and place.
Kayla, how are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
You've gone for this really kind of zoomed in, like it's very pronounced. What we really loved about your submission is that you presented this delicious and intoxicating, fabulous waterscape, but then these little vignettes interrupt it. You're not going to put any of the water in?
No, I was just drawn to those peaks. Like, there's so much to choose from. I think you do just kind of have to narrow it in.
Exactly. And I really like the way that you've like really gone in. It's like rugged and meaty and big, and you can really kind of get stuck in.
Oh, thank you.
Next to the pods, our wildcards are, well, being wildcards.
Sarah, OK, don't tell me. You're getting married?
Nope.
You're shy?
I'm definitely not shy.
You're in a cult?
Well, you could say that. No,
You're having some sort of breakdown?
We've suffered terribly with midgies.
Oh, it's midgies. Now you've mentioned them, I've started to feel itchy. But...
Morning, Sophie.
Morning.
You've gone for these quite muted tones, kind of a grey blue sky, a kind of olivey green hillscape.
I come from Cornwall, so it's quite nice just to not paint blue all the time and actually get the greys in and the purples in the landscape, and there's lots of different shades of green. And
yeah.
I haven't used charcoal for a while, but I thought it'd be good for this kind of landscape, all the clouds, so much light and shade.
So you run up and down mountains and you paint?
Not as much now, because I'm getting a bit older, you know.
How old are you?
50.
Oh, it's not old.
Yeah. It's old enough.
You met
isn't it?
Ty?
How old's he?
Don't ask. He'd only start crying if you ask him.
He looks good for 70, so...
He does.
I still haven't painted in the sky, and that could maybe throw me off a little bit. So I think I really need to work on giving more of a range. So that's what I'm going to work on for the next 2 hours.
I think I might be a bit behind. Still don't know whether I chose the right view. I think I should have maybe worked faster to begin with.
It's not as good as how I'd do it at home, you know. Normally, I'd leave that for a day to dry before I painted on top of it, but in this situation, I have to go for it.
In Snowdonia, our 8 artists are creating their own interpretations of a landscape steeped in the sublime.
Hi, Kayla. What are you working on at the moment?
I've blocked in some of the sky. The clouds are changing so much, I've just done a really quick wash, grey-blue. I want to just get some of the highlights done just to pull things forward, give a bit of depth.
OK.
I've got a few nice sort of shadows to put in, hoping that, because acrylic dries so much darker, that I'm sort of trying to correct a couple of things, because I'm like, why has that gone so dark?
I'm really taken with your mark making.
OK. I'm kind of working across the landscape and filling it in. There are sections of the drawing where you're not quite sure, and it looks very sketchy.
You're really making me want to get in here and make my own marks on the day. Yeah, exactly. I wonder how long it'll take them to notice that I've just gone off into my own little art-making land.
It's a beautiful spot. The sun is shining. It's actually, dare I say it, quite warm. What a joy.
All the paintings have this kind of vibe of, wow, nature's done really good.
Claire has gone for a big, beautiful, gorgeous-looking scene, and she's painting a big, beautiful and gorgeous painting, is she?
Claire, I think, has really caught the majesty of the mountain. You've really got that strong sense of scale. And there's energy, there's beautiful colour, there's denseness of paint, and I think it's perfect now.
The idea that we've got this majesty, which is horizontal, and Claire's reduced it to that valley, you really get that sense of weight from the mountain.
Her mountain is almost butting the top of the frame. It's so big, she can barely contain it.
Yeah.
Mike, is he producing good art?
Mike's making me want to sort of get in there with a little pen and do some cross-hatching, you know, very meditative. His submission took him, I don't know, 400 years. It's just these gorgeous marks.
That kind of fantastic drawing that doesn't quite suit what's in front of him. It's about space and light and distance. And so it has become illustrative.
Kayla works in a slightly more abstract way than some of the others. Is that a help when you've got 4 hours in which to paint?
Kayla's gone really hard and fast into those mountains. I mean, just get in there, make them a bit more rugged, give them a bit more life, and we should get somewhere.
I think Kayla's made a really good decision really early on. They've gone straight to what we're looking at, is this high verticality, the claustrophobia, and this sort of abstract terrain that our eye is going across.
Anna made a decision to zoom in, to ignore the epic majesty of the receding mountains, to ignore the vastness of the lake, but focus in on a smaller detail nearer to us. Was that a good decision?
Anna's obviously a person who plays with concepts and ideas of what makes landscape. And she's looked at this and gone and looked for pattern and repetition, which is paths and greenery and lakes.
Her picture is kind of contextless, and she found that a bit interesting, and now she's made me think it's interesting. I think it's just difficult at the end of the day to judge that against, you know, majesty, sublime, monumentality, and she's doing, like, the in-between bit.
Marcio's using green, which I get the sense that he doesn't use very often.
Well, green's a bit of a holiday from black. I mean, this is an artist that's just sort of obsessed by making black and is sort of quite defiant in his use of it.
I love the submission because of the balance between the painted surface, which is very rough, and I find in today's work the black line has overtaken the painted. The balance is different.
Charlotte's working with patterns and blocks of colour. Are you enjoying what she's doing?
Seeing the submission in real life, you suddenly realise it is very flat and that each bit of pattern is very much like the next. So it feels very samey as your eye goes across the surface.
I think the thing that Charlotte's going to have to contend with is monumentality. Her language has got something about it which is quite pretty, and in its flatness, it will detract from the scale that we're dealing with, and I think it's got to have a bit of oomph.
Mark says he would normally leave things to dry now for a day, but he can't do that, so he's having to change his technique.
I don't know why he's not embracing what we have here today, why he's having to turn it into something other.
Oh, I love it, though. I mean, I'm glad he's turned it into something other. There's, like, 7 other green mountains. Like, I think it's marvellous.
Simon looked at Hampstead Heath and saw a green landscape with houses and people doing stuff, and he's looked at this scene and he's seen a green landscape and there are people and there's houses.
There's something really refreshing about Simon's work, because we talk about all these artworks capturing what today is about, but we've edited out 400 people, a train, loads of cars, and Simon's the only artist here that's painting in any kind of working landscape.
Simon deals with the people quite effectively. I think he sort of suggests them, he uses them quite cleverly. He's got a lovely freshness and lightness here.
It's quite annoying when there are other people around. You don't want to be looking at the majesty of an empty landscape and someone is standing next to you eating prawn cocktail crisps. Just, yeah.
Note to the world, don't eat prawn cocktail crisps near Stephen.
Just don't come near me.
Hello.
Hey, Charlotte. What's still to do here?
Well, I'm still chipping away at the composition, and I do it by laying down shapes and layers and things like that, so I'm hoping to come out the other side before the end.
I really, really love the way that you've gone right in. I was concerned that at half-time you should stop, because you've done so well. There's a real freshness and vitality to it.
I'm trying to keep the marks gestural and vigorous and not get too tight with any of it, really.
OK, well, I think it's got a lot of power to it.
Snowdonia, Eryri in Welsh, is home to Wales's highest mountain. In the 18th century, this region became a hotspot for British holidaymakers and landscape artists.
Travelling on the continent was suddenly very hard because Britain was at war with France after the French Revolution. So people were beginning to discover Wales as a tourist destination from about the 1770s.
Including English Romantic painter J.M.W. Turner.
Turner began aged 17 making forays into Wales. And between 1792 and 1799, he made 5 trips on a little pony into what were then incredibly wild, dangerous terrain. For Turner, a great sky, a great mountain, a great lake, that was the sort of magic trio. And of course, one of the things he painted was Dolbadon Castle.
Built by the Prince of Gwynedd in the 13th century to defend against the invading English, the castle marked a defining moment in Turner's artistic journey.
Dolbadon's an example of Turner experimenting with the sublime. This idea of a landscape so awe-inspiring that it can make one feel excitedly scared in a way that's pleasurable. It's very much associated with the Romantic movement, this very personal, heightened emotional response to landscape. And Dolbadon is a fantastic opportunity for that because it's this great, looming, dark edifice which speaks to the imagination. For Turner, the sublime becomes something he returns to again and again, and then it never leaves. It's a sort of eye-opening moment for a very young painter.
Alongside our pod artists, the wildcards are nearing the end of their day's painting. And for some, it's decision time.
I was looking at the mountains first, and they're just stunning, and so I thought I'd cover that. But then I turned round, and the lake's awesome also, so I thought I'd do them both and see which one I preferred at the end of the day.
And the judges have been checking on their endeavours.
You do capture a real sense of the majesty and the enormity of the mountains, which is quite difficult to do with pen and ink.
That's so nice of you to say so. Thank you.
Well done.
Do you always use that pink? It's pretty loud.
It is. It gives it a certain vibrancy, though, to work from as an anchor. Yeah.
But only one wild card can win.
It really was a fantastic day today. Might I be coming in this direction? Congratulations, you are welcome winner today.
And Sophie Ryder's robust, blocky panorama is the judges' overall favourite.
You really managed to keep a strong sense of the place and the drama and the grandeur. It's stylised, it's different, but it's here. Well done.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm amazed. I was just expecting to sit and paint and have a lovely day, and the fact I've won this is just the icing on the cake.
Sophie from Hale in Cornwall enters a pool of wildcard winners, one of whom will be picked to paint in the semi-final.
Hello. Hi. Good boy. Just gonna get it done. Thank you. Love you. Love you. Bye, Kate.
I think that I'm got the sky well on its way now. Somehow, when you get the sky right, then everything else kind of follows on from the sky.
Painting is taking shape bit by bit. We're trying to get trees into it, the bushes, and tiny houses in the background there.
The lake has been either quite bright or quite dark, so choosing which version of the lake to paint has been a little bit challenging. So the changing light has been a struggle, I'm not going to lie.
So I'm feeling a bit panicked just because there's a lot to resolve in a very short space of time. I'm struggling with making the water look like water at the moment. So, yeah, panicking.
Eight artists are nearing the end of their lakeside landscape challenge in Llanberis in North Wales.
So this is a very relaxing pod to be in, because some people are really panicking they're not going to finish, but you just look as calm as a cucumber.
Basically, 80% is done, and I'm left with a bit of borders on the trees and to show a bit of depth. And I guess that's it.
Well, good. Enjoy the last few serene moments here. It's a beautiful place to be, isn't it?
Indeed.
I didn't really have a clear idea of how this was going to turn out. I've done what I can. Fingers crossed.
Just an hour more would have been perfect, but yeah, I think I can get it done.
It's all right, yeah. It's about as good as I could do, I think, on the day.
Artists, you have 5 minutes left. 5 minutes.
Oh.
It's exciting.
Fiddling around at the end.
I'll probably make a mess of it, should leave it alone.
Artists, your time is up. Please stop what you're doing and step away from your easels.
Really ready for a cup of tea.
Today's definitely been one of those days that exists kind of on its own in a small pocket away from your normal life. Yeah, definitely feels a bit unreal.
Just one of these 8 artists will win today's heat and be in the running for the coveted title of Landscape Artist of the Year and a £10,000 commission for London's Courtauld Gallery. The prize will take them to the south of France, a region that has inspired generations of artists with its dazzling light and breathtaking colours. They'll retrace the steps of some of the greats of art history, like post-impressionist Henri Matisse, who started visiting the region in the early 1900s.
Matisse was an endlessly experimental artist. He worked with Fauvism, which is very much about describing a landscape through colour. How do we know this beach is hot? Let's paint it red. So Matisse gets to the south of France, and this is really the place where he starts to look at the natural world in its kind of most bold and vivacious form. We want an artist who really is able to be their best selves in the south of France. This is where art took huge steps forward. We need the artist to kind of walk in those footsteps, to take on that challenge.
For now, in North Wales, it's time for the judges to look at the 8 finished works. To help decide which artist to send through to this year's semi-final, they narrow their selection to a shortlist of 3.
I feel like we gave our artists such an incredible view today that all of them responded really well, and they all understood that it was about feeling.
Yeah.
So Claire, I think, really took us right there, wanting to get that sort of sense of awe and drama in the landscape.
Yeah. What I think Claire's done very well is the format. You know, we do get a sense of this incredibly high landscape looking down into the water and being compressed by the weight of the landscape.
And that adds to its scale and enormity.
I'm really pleased that Mike cropped his page, actually, because the intensity he's been able to achieve in the trees is really beautiful.
What we love is his mark making with monochrome and with the black ink. But actually, the green is really intense. Does it have a strong sense of place here in North Wales? I'm not sure.
Whereas Kayla's mountains really feel like North Wales. I mean, there's sort of an intensity to them.
The choice of composition was great. It feels very simple, but it really gives you a punch in the gut.
I think Anna, on the other hand, was maybe overawed by nature and then chose this little sort of passageway through. I think the paint is excellent. I mean, it's incredibly beautiful.
It's interesting. She's gone through this place. You don't know what it is or where it is, but every element is so beautifully and delicately painted.
Marzio, I love the intensity of it. I love the way in which he uses black. There's a vigorousness to everything.
Marzio didn't need to paint the kayakers, I think, because it took the narrative somewhere else. He's conjured something very strange, almost prehistoric. Therefore, I find the kayaks a bit distracting.
Charlotte, I mean, very interesting way of breaking up the landscape into its constituent parts. Very different way of traversing space. You know, you can walk across these shapes and you can get through to the mountain and the sky.
I think Charlotte's work is playful. I could bounce across those pieces rather than walk across them as sort of poofs of marshmallow, like coloured green or something. Mark has taken me back to my exhibitions on 19th century symbolist painters.
Yeah. It's not Wales, is it? It is more Norway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love what he's done in many ways. It's very romantic. I've just got this one question in my head, which is just, why? Why?
Because it looks great. I like the fact that I can be transported to some different century in a Nordic country, and I think that shows some extraordinary sort of imagination and skill.
Simon's painting is an absolute banger. I mean, it works so well. What he's done is sophisticated because there's just a genuine honesty running throughout it. There's just some absolutely to die for passages of paint here.
Simon's choices, I think, were brilliant in part. As we come into the foreground, it becomes less abstract, less about painting. It starts more anecdotal, and then it starts getting a bit sweet and narrative.
Artists, it's been a really wonderful day and we've enjoyed watching how you've captured this iconic scene. However, only 3 of you can go onto the shortlist. The first artist is Claire Rose. The second artist on the shortlist is Anna Rowe Tyson. And the third artist the judges have selected is Mark Harrison.
Oh.
Me? You what? I really didn't see that one coming.
The judges now have the difficult task of picking the day's winner. Only one artist can go through to the semi-final. To help them, they also consider the selected artists' submissions.
Well, what a great day. And I know we should really be concentrating on these 6 works of art, but I mean, just look at it.
I know.
It's so stunning.
It's full of foreboding, looming, dark presence.
Are you talking about the view or you three? So, Anna's submission focused on a detail of a scene. We have no idea what the rest of that scene looks like. Today, she did the same thing.
She's just a very brilliant painter, although she picks very strange non-areas to paint. She knows how to do a lot with very little, and today, that pathway through these trees and past the water is so well executed.
Both of them, though, have chosen quite sort of unprepossessing moments. We do know that there's a whopping great big mountain behind it. I think it was really brave of Anna to leave it out entirely.
So Claire has given us the view we were set up for today.
I think Claire is able to evoke mood with light, and she showed it in her submission, that sort of bleak sky. And today, the light was tricky, but she still found that sort of silvery light that was breaking through everywhere, and it has been able to create the same mood, but with the sense of where we are geographically.
You know that the mountain range goes beyond. They're big paintings, they're very expansive, and in that expanse, there's intense drama.
Mark has given us a nocturnal scene, painted during the daytime.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
I hope I don't really encounter either one of these skies. The one in the submission looks like post-apocalyptic, sort of toxic chemical, and the one on the right is sort of like the second coming or something.
It's kind of interesting how artists use what is in front of them to make paintings they want to make. You know, why not? Like, I look at these two and I think they are extraordinary, that they transport us there.
You've got an interesting selection today, because we've got somebody who seems to paint the unobvious. Someone who, you know, who gives us a big, meaty, good-looking, large canvases, and then someone who's bringing on the end of the world. Anna, Claire, Mark, all 3 of you should think of yourselves as winners today, but sadly, only one of you can go through to the semi-final. And the artist the judges have selected is Claire Rose.
I'm absolutely beside myself. I just never thought that I would win this. I'm delighted. I'm just, don't know what to say. I've got my granddaughter with me, and I'm going to celebrate with the largest glass of wine I think I can buy. Thank you so much.
We love courageous artists, and today we gave our artists this enormous mountain to paint, and Claire went, I can do that. She's very good at capturing the mood, and when we think of the commission, that's what we want the artists to do, give us a sense, absolute sense of place. Claire's a master of light and atmosphere, and she just nailed it.
Thank you so much. I cannot believe it. Oh my God.
If you'd like to be a pod artist in next year's competition, or want to find out more about the work of our featured artists, visit our website, skyartsartistoftheyear.tv. Next time, we're in Bristol.
Have I painted a bridge before? No, I haven't, but there's a first for everything.
As 8 new artists take on a gravity-defying icon of 19th century engineering.
The bridge took 30+ years to build, and we've got 4 hours to draw it.
So can any of them create a riveting work of art?
Well, it could be a complete disaster.
Or will they find it a bridge too far?
Well done, I'm having a meltdown.